Hello and welcome to the Learning Commons Wish Workshop on test taking, everybody's favorite part of school. Being a successful tester really comes down to 3 areas: preparing, taking the test, and reflecting on it. Before the test, you'll want to prepare, but how will you know what will be on a test? Some instructors provide a study guide or practice test. Pay attention to hints your instructor drops in class. They often emphasize the important points. Sometimes you can find sample questions at the end of chapters or from other assignments you have done. Figuring out what will be on the test is crucial, but you also need to make a plan to study to avoid cramming. Plan to study for your exam. Using your calendar or other time management tools, dedicate sessions across a number of days leading up to the exam to study. It may be a wise idea to cut back on social activity and increase physical activity. These 2 things help with easing test anxiety and stress. Consider if meeting with a study group is helpful. Use tools that work for you. Flashcards for memorizing, create outlines for possible essay questions, and lean on your peers. Now that you have scheduled the time to study, use the tools to help you prepare. How do you maximize your ability the day of the test? Rule number 1 is to arrive or log on to get situated early. Running late is a huge stress inducer. Make sure you have eaten, slept, and used the restroom. Be prepared with all of the materials you need: pens, paper, calculator, notes, crib sheet. Again, not being prepared can raise anxiety levels. Be mindful of where you are testing. Minimize distractions. If in a physical classroom, ignore your classmates. Pre-test talk can also ignite stress. During the test, and this is where the panic can begin, make sure you have listened to and read all of the directions prior to starting the exam. Do a data dump. Write down any formulas or important facts you have memorized on the back of a test or scrap paper for later recall. This is not cheating. Look at the credit value for the questions and allocate your time accordingly. When you encounter a question you just don't know, don't sit there for minutes going blank. Skip it and return to it later. The answer to the question you skipped may appear later in the exam. Use all of the allotted time for an exam. If you finish early, review for correctness and the ones you skipped, but never change an answer unless you are 100% sure you made a mistake. If you have adequately prepared, your first instinct was probably correct. Have faith. This is easier said than done. Test anxiety is very common, but can be combated. The common causes of test anxiety are mostly self-induced and mental in nature. Lack of adequate preparation in terms of time and content is the number 1 reason folks get anxious for tests. If you've crammed, you won't be ready for an optimum performance. Fear of failure can be detrimental to test performance, and dwelling on past negative test experiences can also raise the stress level. We've all been there. Let's move on. There are 10 simple steps to be prepared for tests and reduce anxiety. Much of it has already been mentioned in this video. Be prepared. Study over a series of days and use the tools you need. Make sure you have slept and eaten well. Our bodies and brains need nutrition to function. Arrive early and use positive self-talk. Say to yourself, I have prepared for this test. I'm ready. I'm going to kill this exam. Read all directions before beginning. Don't stare at a blank page. Start the test. Find some questions you know to build your confidence. Ignore the progress of your classmates. Be mindful of the time. And if you get really panicked, pause, breathe deeply, and think positively. Keep calm and carry on. If you tend to freeze up during a test, consider practicing visualization or relaxation techniques. See the handout posted in this module from Metropolitan Community College. They outline steps for some great strategies. I understand the urge to pass in a completed test and forget about it forever, but don't. When a corrected test is returned, it is so important to review it. Identify which parts were easier or more challenging. Look at your errors. Were they careless or did you just not know? Think about the strategies you used to prepare. Did they work? Should you try something different next time? After analyzing the completed test, make sure you reward yourself. Relax. You've earned it. If you would like an individual consultation on test-taking strategies, please contact tutoring@smccme.edu. Thank you for listening to these tips. Your friends in the Learning Commons.